Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Wednesday, a busy Wednesday thanks to the Vancouver Canucks and what they're up to trade-wise. Evander Kane now a Canuck. Wednesday and all today's guests, including John Shannon from the 100% Hockey Podcast, standing by, brought to you by the Vancouver Canadians. C's homestand against Eugene continues tonight. They won last night. And this weekend features a fireworks night, nooner, Marvel Superhero Day, and a White Spot Family Fun Sunday. Check out the full schedule and get your tickets at CanadiansBaseball.com or call 604-872-5232. Canucks acquire Evander Kane from the Edmonton Oilers for a fourth-round 2025 draft pick as we bring in John Shannon from the 100% Hockey Podcast. Thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I'm great, boys. By the way, our old friend Paul Graham and Dave Hodge say hello.
Right back at him.
Right
Dave back at him. Say hi to him for us.
Yeah, we're just having a power lunch in suburban Toronto, and I said nope. Donnie and Dolly need me.
Yeah, there you go. We appreciate that.
Dave Hodge, a big fan of his when he was at CBC Hockey Night Canada. Loved him.
Rick and I.
Well, you probably went for breakfast with him when you were here.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, at CKNW he started at too, Dave.
We didn't start there.
Hold it a second. He was there. He used to do the pre and post there. Anyways.
That's right. He moved to Vancouver.
Yeah.
He got recruited to go to Vancouver in 1986 by another old friend of ours, Ron Bremner.
Yeah,
who was running BCTV at the time.
There you go.
Rick and I remember those power lunches before we got laid off a couple of times. They were really good.
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy yourself. Hey, John, Evander Kane is a Vancouver Canuck. Your reaction?
Well, listen, Evander Kane can still play the game. He plays on the edge. He could be physical. You know, the Edmonton Oilers were very successful in the first 3 rounds of the playoffs. And a lot of it is attributed to what Evander Kane did in front of the net and how he used his body. I think this is a solid addition to the Canucks. The key thing for me is that Evander, who I think would admit this too, is just has to learn every once in a while to play under control. It got him in trouble in the Stanley Cup final against Florida. But Evander Kane can still play the game and still be a part of it. And I think that... I think knowing full well, being a Vancouver kid, he'll be excited to play for the Canucks.
We had Bob Stauffer on in our first hour. He says off the ice, behavior-wise, no issues with Evander Kane at Edmonton. What did you hear, John?
Yeah, no, listen, I think we saw it firsthand at Edmonton. I think that he knew that he had to clean up his act. He did clean up his act. He became very active in the charitable sector of the city and did give back to prove to people that he could do it. In fact, I think what you found in his time in Edmonton, at least I did, was he was one of the more personable hockey players to deal with. Always had a smile on his face, always was approachable. Mm-hmm. I think that there are lots of positives in this one for Canuck fans. And if Evander plays the game the way I think he can, I think Evander Kane could quickly become a fan favorite in Vancouver.
Hey, John, we haven't asked you about the Canucks ownership situation. Francesco's trying to sell a portion of the team to buy out the brother Paulo. Have you heard anything on that front? To buy a brother out, it's going to cost $300 to $500 million, I'm guessing. And we're not talking about $10,000 here. We're talking a big number. So how do you go about doing that?
Well, it's funny, Rick. This is becoming almost a cottage industry, not just for the Vancouver Canucks. This is becoming an industry in professional sports. The Boston Celtics, when they sold for $6.7 billion, it was a group that collectively could put that money together. It wasn't an individual. What's happening in Toronto, Rogers, who are going to have controlling interest of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, are going to be looking for minority owners. This is a fact of life in professional sports now, because, and you guys heard this for years. Why would you buy a team? Are you really a sports fan? There are certain guys that want to own a team because they want to give back to the community. The other guys want to do it because of return on investment. And what's happening now is people are looking at the huge amount of money that teams are being priced at, like the Los Angeles Lakers, $10 billion, and saying, no, you know what? Now's the time to find some partners. And wouldn't it be great to find, $300 to $400 million in cash?
Yep.
And still maintain and still maintain control of your hockey club. And that's exactly what I think Francesco and the family are looking at.
They're going to ask Dave Hodge for if he can help out.
Wouldn't that be nice?
As you guys both know, media does not pay in our country.
No.
And media has never paid in our country.
No, we know.
Unless you're Rick.
We know. The NHL draft. Okay, so the teams aren't going to be there. We're not going to see the tables. We're not going to see the GMs talking to each other. What are we going to see, John? Like, when I turn on my television for the draft, like, what am I going to see?
Well, it certainly sounds like the networks are still sending their guests, their panelists, to whether it be on ESPN or on Sportsnet to go to the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles. You are going to see 50 or 60 of the young players that are being drafted that will be in the green room. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a little different. But if you saw what the NFL has done with their green room, what the NBA has done with theirs, perhaps there's a little bit more behind-the-scenes stuff you're going to see. Rick, I wouldn't waste any time worrying about this because this is a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, that's
this is one where the commissioner has said, okay, you guys think that you want to save money, you guys want to do this, and by the end of the second day on Saturday, we're going to say, gosh, we missed the old system. We missed the arena full of people. And by the way, if I had my way, and I'm not suggesting I ever will have my way ever again, I would say we're going to do every second year in Montreal at the Bell Center, which, Montreal fans are spectacular when it comes to hockey and the draft, and do the off year in Vegas at the Sphere. So you get a taste of what the Sphere can do with 17,000 seats of people and people going to Vegas for an event, and then being the hardcore hockey fans in Montreal. Montreal is the best place to hold a draft for pure hockey knowledge, and I hope they get another chance to host it. The other thing was that teams, let's face it, teams were not interested in hosting the draft anymore because it cost money to do.
It cost a lot,
It cost a lot of money, even if you were the host city. The league didn't pay every bill. So from that perspective, there wasn't very much interest in by teams to host the draft for all the work it took.
Of course, the draft used to always be held in Montreal back in the day.
At the ballroom and the Queen Elizabeth Hotel.
Yeah. The NHL should go back there. Then then the Canucks could lose another spin of the wheel. It all works out, John. Hey,
here's what's funny, Donnie, when you say that. Vancouver and Buffalo will always be joined at the hip forever. Mm-hmm. And if there are two fan bases now that feel that the world is against them, it's the Vancouver Canucks and the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, Sabre fans who have, by the way, they haven't made the playoffs. Yeah, I think it'll be 14 seasons now.
Yep.
And Kevin Adams had a press conference yesterday that everybody else is just saying it was the worst thing that should have ever happened, and Kevin should never speak to the media again. I every time I think how bad things are in Vancouver, I just think, you know what? They could be in Buffalo.
Yeah. And Vancouver and Buffalo, what else do they have in common? Alex McGillney played for both those teams. He finally gets into the Hall of Fame. He's been waiting since 2009. 55 goals for the Canucks back in 95-96, his first season in Vancouver. What do you remember about number 89?
Well, let's face it. First of all, I actually produced the Olympics in 1988 in Calgary when McGillney was a young star of that Soviet Union team that won the gold medal in Calgary. I also remember his time as a world junior when his line mates were Sergei Fedorov and Pavel Bure. Mm-hmm. Not a bad line. Yep. And then when he came from the Soviet Union to play for the Sabres, and 76 goals, was a pure goal scorer, unbelievable skill. And then he adapted his game, Donnie. Mm-hmm. He changed his game over the years to become one of the greatest, in my opinion, one of the greatest two-way forwards in the history of the game. He was absolutely magnificent. Stanley Cup winner, gold medal winner,
Yep.
member of that Triple Gold Club, World Championship. And the list of that worldwide is less than 30. Mogilny, I don't understand why it took 16 years. I really don't.
Yeah.
But I don't think Alex ever got the respect, period, around the league because he didn't look for fame.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys in the dressing room. I don't know if you remember, but one of the guys in the dressing room wouldn't really have time for you if he didn't think the question was a valid question. He was a pure star when it came to playing the game of hockey.
Okay, John, we're out of time here, but you're a BC boy. I know very quickly you'd like to talk about what Abbotsford was up to on their way to winning the Calder Cup.
Wasn't that spectacular?
Yeah.
To me, you know what? Every time anybody in the province wins a championship, you have to be thrilled. I was disappointed, obviously, that they couldn't win it in 5 on the Saturday night at home. But to go to Charlotte and win the way they played and see some potentially positive players for Abbotsford that could contribute to the Canucks, you do wonder and you guys I know have talked about it, you do wonder what's happening in goal with Artur Shilov's, what he did for the run. And by the way, I was not aware until Scott Howson announced it. The second half of the season run that Abbotsford went on, what was it, 1 loss in regulation? The second half of the season? I mean, they were just phenomenal. Manny Malhotra did a magnificent job. And the Canucks have something to be proud of at both levels, at the American League and the NHL level. And, you know, sometimes good things do happen to this hockey franchise.
Yeah. It's not all about the wheel in Montreal.
No, that's right.
Say hi to Dave.
Say hi to Dave.
Paul. Yeah, and Paul.
Well, yeah, hey, listen, Rick. We'll have breakfast with Dave. We'll have breakfast with Dave when we should. But you know what? You'll phone Elliot, and then you'll forget.
I got Pat Morris is next in Toronto. Then comes John Shannon.
Whatever the case, John, if you go out for a meal with Rick, you're buying.
You're buying.
I already knew that.
Thanks, John.